An unprecedented turning point has just emerged on Lebanon's political stage. The government is drafting a plan to restrict the possession of weapons exclusively to the army and other official state forces by the end of this year. As the cabinet works out the implementation roadmap, a wave of domestic public debate and external pressures is creating a stormy political landscape, with Hezbollah at the center behind the statement's plans. And the proposal lies the growing anxiety of the people over uncertain future, and even the looming threat of war. Stay with us for the latest updates in our new roundup.
On August 5th, the Lebanese government instructed the army to draft a plan to establish exclusive state control over all weapons by the end of this year, a move seen as a direct challenge to Hezbollah, the group that has consistently rejected all calls for disarmament since its brutal war with Israel last year. The Iran-backed group is now under pressure from rivals within Lebanon and from Washington, who are urging Lebanese ministers to publicly commit to dismantling the group and warning that failure to do so could prompt Israel to escalate its attacks on Lebanon. The meeting at the Lebanese presidential palace marked the first time the cabinet has addressed Hezbollah's weapons, something unthinkable just 2 years ago when the group was at the height of its power. The ministers met for nearly 6 hours. In the concluding statement, Prime Minister Nawaf Salam announced that the cabinet had authorized the Lebanese army to develop a plan to ensure that all weapons across the country would be limited to 6 specific state security forces by the end of the year.
The Cabinet of Ministers has decided the following. First, completing the discussion on the paper proposed by the United States on Thursday, the 7th of this month, authorizing the Lebanese army with setting an executive plan to confine arms before the end of this current year in the hands of the forces outlined in the announcement special arrangements of the cessation of hostilities and submitting it to the Cabinet of Ministers before the 31st of this month for it to be discussed and decided.
1 day after the government assigned the Lebanese army the task of drafting a plan to establish a state monopoly on weapons, mixed reactions have emerged among the public. Some people have expressed concern about the possibility of a new war between Israel and Hezbollah.
The decision the state took yesterday was very, very wise. They postponed the disarmament of Hezbollah until New Year's, the end of the year, because it will cause chaos. Some people are against it, and others support it. Lebanon can no longer tolerate a war.
We are heading towards war for sure. Israel cannot be trusted, and if we surrender our weapons, it will wage a war, meaning either way we will not be safe from it.
Imad Salami, chair of the Department of Political and International Studies at the Lebanese American University, stated that the country's Shiite community, the group most heavily affected by last year's war with Israel, now fears that disarming Hezbollah would leave them vulnerable to further attacks from Israel.
Well, the decision of the government is historic and is a landmark decision because Lebanon has been used to non-state armed actors since it existed. And this is really a new effort by the Lebanese government to assert its sovereignty over all its territory. Now, whether this can happen and can be attained and achieved, it's a different story. Of course, Lebanese are divided on this matter. Some, particularly the Shia community, and that reside in the south, in the Bekaa Valley, in the southern district of Beirut in particular, as well as Beirut as a whole. They have concern that once this weapons has been pulled out, then the community will be vulnerable to Israeli aggressions, and there will be no means to deter Israeli from turning South Lebanon into another West Bank or another Gaza. We are most probably going into a polarized political landscape, with Hezbollah most probably refusing to lay down arms, or to accept the formula the government has been proposing, and to suggest that these weapons should not be given away without Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. So we are about to enter, I believe, a divided politics in Lebanon, the way it was before, because we had this same discussions in the past, like in 2005 and 6. And now we are entering into a new division, most probably political.
In June, U.S. envoy Thomas Barrack proposed a roadmap to Lebanese officials for the complete disarmament of Hezbollah in exchange for Israel halting its attacks on Lebanon and withdrawing from 5 points it still occupies in southern Lebanon. The proposal included a condition that the Lebanese government adopt a cabinet resolution explicitly committing to Hezbollah's disarmament.
Well, we can't compel Israel to do anything, can we? America is not here to compel Israel to do anything. We're here to use our influence to bring calm minds together to come to a conclusion. The U.S. has no business in trying to compel Israel to do anything. America can only influence. We're not going to have more boots on the ground in an adversarial nature anywhere. We're just not going to do it.
On July 30, Lebanon's Hezbollah leader Sheikh Naim Qassem stated that calls to disarm the Iran-backed militant group only serve Israel's interests as the United States increases pressure to take steps toward eliminating the group's arsenal.
Those who call for submitting arms practically demand submitting them to Israel. The U.S. says, remove the missiles and remove the drones and surrender everything, and surrender the medium weapons and light weapons, but only after a period of time. Okay, why, Mr. Barak? He said because these weapons scare Israel. Israel wants its security. Understand, in slang Arabic, this man wants the weapons for Israel. He does not want the weapons to control the security situation in Lebanon. We will not submit to Israel. More than that, I want to tell you that those who call for disarmament on a domestic, global, or Arab level serve the Israeli project, whatever his name, whatever his title, whatever his claim.
Shortly afterward, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun called on Hezbollah and other political factions to hand over their weapons to the army, a move the militant group is resisting as Washington increases pressure to eliminate its arsenal.
It is my duty, and the duty of all political parties, through the Council of Ministers, the Supreme Defense Council, the Parliament, and all political forces, to seize this historic opportunity and without hesitation push to assert the exclusive possession of weapons in the hands of the army and security forces exclusively and on all Lebanese territory, today before tomorrow. Israel's withdrawal behind the internationally recognized borders and the release of the hostages, the extension of the authority of the Lebanese state over all its territories, the withdrawal of the weapons of all armed forces, including Hezbollah, and their handover to the Lebanese army, and securing an amount of $1 billion annually for a period of 10 years, because Israel's lengthy occupation was not without price.
Hezbollah experienced significant losses during last year's conflict with Israel, which resulted in the deaths of many of its leaders, thousands of fighters, and the displacement of tens of thousands of supporters due to the destruction of their homes. Currently, the United States is urging the Lebanese government to make an official cabinet decision to commit to the disarmament of Hezbollah before negotiations on ceasing Israel's military actions in Lebanon can resume, according to 5 sources familiar with the issue who spoke to Reuters.
While it remains uncertain whether the Lebanese government has the capacity and consensus to carry out this ambitious goal, one thing is clear. This moment marks an unprecedented turning point in the modern history of the Middle East nation. Lebanon's future is being shaped not only at the cabinet level, but also through Hezbollah's every response, Israel's every move, and the anxious gaze of citizens facing an unprecedented horizon. We will continue to provide the latest updates on international current affairs. Thank you for your attention and for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos.